Over 500 people saw Jesus alive after he was crucified. Paul basically dared anyone to go check. Most people who argue against the resurrection have never had to deal with this passage. It is tucked in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, and when you read it carefully, it is one of the most striking pieces of evidence in the entire New Testament. Paul writes, "He appeared to Cephas, and then to the 12. After that, he appeared to more than 500 of the brothers and sisters at the same time, most of whom are still living, though some have fallen asleep." That is 1 Corinthians 15, 5-6. Read that again, most of whom are still living. Paul wrote that letter roughly 20 years after the crucifixion and pointed his readers directly at living eyewitnesses. That is not mythology. That is a verifiable, falsifiable public claim. If Jesus had not appeared to those 500 people, his opponents had every reason and every opportunity to find them and prove it. They never did. Now consider what it would take to explain this away. You cannot use the hallucination theory. Hallucinations are individual experiences. Over 500 people do not hallucinate the same person at the same time. You cannot use the wrong tomb theory. Over 500 witnesses saw someone, not an empty room, and these were not people predisposed to believe. Paul himself was violently opposed to Christianity before the risen Jesus appeared to him personally. He said it himself. "Last of all, he appeared to me also, as to one abnormally born." This is not a legend that grew over centuries. Historians broadly recognize that this creed in 1 Corinthians 15 was already circulating within 3 to 5 years of the crucifixion itself. That is not enough time for legend to replace memory. That is eyewitness testimony while witnesses were still alive and could be questioned. 500 witnesses, living, breathing, findable people. Paul said, "Go ask them." And that challenge is just as real today as it was then. What is the best explanation for 500 people seeing the same risen Jesus? Because the disciples who carried this message did not just believe it. They died for it, and nobody dies for something they know is a lie.